Hero and Row Party in the centres, Kemp and Whittaker the halves, Solomona, Johnston and Stewart in the front row. Kearney captains his country for the first time in the second row with Quentin Pongia, and Jason Mackey is the loose forward. The coach is Howie Tamati. Two changes to the Great Britain lineup. The Lions, at number 8 is Calvin Skerritt. He's in the front row again, and the 18-year-old Andy Farrell comes into the second row. It's Jonathan Davis at fullback, Devereaux and O'Fire on the wings, Connolly and Newlove in the centres, Schofield the captain at standoff, Edwards is halfback, Skerritt, Jackson and Fairbank in the front row, Farrell and Joy. Responsibility on his shoulders today. Gary Schofield, the veteran. His 43rd test, Schofield, only 3 away from equaling Mick Sullivan's all-time record of 46 tests for Great Britain. No haka. One World of Sport live at Leeds for the third and final test match in this 1993 series. First touch of the ball in international football for Andy Farrell. 18 metres out from his own line. Phil Clark to the 20-metre mark. Farrell, well, he's keen to get into it, Graham Lowe.
Well, it's the best thing for a young player. Just get quick touch of the ball, get yourself involved, get rid of those nerves. Good pressure there from the Kiwis. Great work from Aaron Whittaker, but a fine kick also from Jonathan Davis.
David Watson on his own 20-metre mark. Runs into Skerritt and also Fairbank. Pongi up. Brent Stewart, one of our co-leaders in the UBIC's Most Valuable Player Award, along with Stephen Kearney and Gary Freeman. Freeman certainly won't earn any points today. $10,000 up for grabs with our Most Valuable Player from UBIC's and One World of Sport, Jonathan Davis, taken by Kemp.
That was a great kick and a good chase. Plenty of Kiwis up there in line that gave Davis nowhere to run. But this was the danger man. This was the guy that destroyed him in the second test. Johnny Devereaux.
Joint from the St Helens club.
New Zealand are now trying to use their defence to force an error. That's what the Kiwis are looking for.
Calvin Skerritt, only his third match back from victory. Will he last the 80 minutes? Edwards into open spaces, but Watson is back there along with Botica. Newlove takes him a couple of metres short of halfway. New Zealand's end of the ground. Iro is home ground. The lead centre to the halfway. Whittaker picks up Mackey. Forward pass. Mistake from New Zealand.
Just a bit of keenness there. Young Jason Mackey just overrunning the ball.
Great Britain ball. Schofield brings Davis in from fullback. He runs into his opposite number, Watson. Campanero also in there as well for New Zealand. Nobody home. The chase is on. Botica will get there first and pushes it over the dead ball line.
Well, that's great tactics from Great Britain. What they did is they brought Jonathan Davies into the back line so that Dave Watson had to come up and tackle him. While Dave Watson was in the mark area, they kicked him behind. Great tactics from the Poms.
One World of Sport replay. Botica into the danger zone, pushes it over the dead ball line.
But dangerous also for Botica into the fence. That's good defence.
Indeed. Davis. Now it's Andy Farrell. The crowd giving him plenty of support. Skerritt. Great Britain applying the first real pressure inside the New Zealand zone, apart from that previous kick. Now it's Newlove out wide. Iro has him. Edwards. Jackson. Lee Jackson. Desperate defence from New Zealand early on. 0-0 at Leeds. Edwards. Schofield out to nobody. Scrum to pack down about 10 metres out from the New Zealand line.
New Zealand were under plenty of pressure, but you've got to take your hat off to the Great Britain tactics. Great work in that play that we saw a couple of rucks ago, bringing Jonathan Davies into the line and really committing Dave Watson, and then just found them with no one home behind the line.
Aaron Whittaker from Canterbury, 25 years of age, the new halfback. For the first time in 37 test matches, there is no Gary Freeman in the New Zealand squad. Stewart.
Yeah, we can see the difference in tactics here. New Zealand prepared to take the ball up one at a time, and really that's what's going to happen. You're just going to get smashed. You've got to go up in 2s and 3s and take the pressure off the ball carrier.
Ser Solomona. Kemp. Crowd calling for a penalty. A player taken out without the ball, but the referee says play on, and Davis makes it up to his 20-metre mark, taken by the skipper, Stephen Kearney. Off by Devereaux. He scored a double in the second test. One try in the first test. Farrell. 0-0.
We're going to hear a lot of this Farrell over the next 4 or 5 years. He's a great prospect for the Great Britain team.
Joined away from one. Can't get away from Whittaker around the legs. Edwards slips in the drizzle. Phil Clark gets a kick away. Not a bad one. Into open spaces. But Watson is going to allow it to run into the in goal and pick it up. Can't get away from Connolly. Good chasing by the Lions.
Well, for a bit of a nothing kick, Clarkie, that had a very good result.
Both parties driven back. Signed for Featherston this week, so he won't be returning home after the tour. Ivar Ropati, Kearney, Stewart. A West Coast sidestep, straight ahead. Solomona. Back to Whittaker. Good confident start by Aaron Whittaker. One tackle remaining. Kemp. Again, it's Jonathan Davis inside his own 20. Runs into Pongia.
Bit of cat and mouse at the moment. Not a lot being given away from both sides, so the Kiwis are just trying to force the error.
Penalty to Great Britain. Brent Stewart being called out. Well, he certainly didn't miss him. A dangerous tackle on Martin Afire.
Unfortunately, it's let Great Britain off the hook because Kiwis had a good line of defence there, and it was up to Great Britain to try and have to work their way out, but it's been relieved, that situation, with this penalty.
Jonathan Davis. Skerritt up to halfway, taken by Kearney and Johnston. Edwards. Fairbank. Schofield brings Phil Clark into it. Edwards. He ran into the biggest man on the field, Ser Solomona. Davis, the midfield bomb. Watson, he's left it behind. Boddicker cleaned up. Great kick from Davis. Running it out of his own 20. Rob Party. Well, if anyone thought Great Britain were going to be complacent after wrapping up the series, they'd better think again. They mean business. Mackie. Kearney. Final tackle for the Kiwis. There's a knock on there. Mistake on the final tackle means a handover and more pressure for the Kiwis. Farrell. Schofield having a run on his own. 25 metres out. Confident start by the youngster, Andy Farrell, on debut. Edwards. Sean Edwards allowed to run across the field. Now this is Skerritt. Jackson waits for it. Edwards. Sean Edwards hops one over to Fairbank. That is the first try of the third test. The Lions have done it. 4 points to 0. Fairbank, he was dropped to the travelling reserves earlier in the week, but when Richie Ayres pulled out through illness yesterday, he was brought back into the starting lineup. Relive it on One World of Sport.
Well, here we have Sean Edwards doing what Gary Freeman got dropped for, running across the field. But this is what happens. It creates openings if you've got runners changing the angles, which Sean's been looking for. He's had 3 searching runs. That time it paid off. Clever player, Sean Edwards. Ran between the players, drew in 3 tacklers. Carl Fairbank coming on the burst. Really, Dave Watson was too small to try and hold him up. But that try has been building for a while, and it is very good play from the Great Britain side.
Jonathan Davis, his debut in 1990 against Papua New Guinea. 31 years of age, his 13th test match for Great Britain, the Welsh Rugby League captain, former Welsh Rugby Union captain. Gary Schofield receiving some attention, the skipper.
He runs on Tetley's.
Davis from almost in front.
Well, a lot of pressure on Steve Kearney now. He's a fine young player, Steve Kearney. As leader of the side, as captain of the side, he's got to rally these troops and really try to get New Zealand to strike back.
6-0 after 12 minutes. In the background, Gary Schofield leaving the field. He doesn't look too happy at all. And that's a real shame.
Well, here we have it, Sean Edwards coming across the field on an angle, but look at the other runners, all changing angles, giving Sean the option. Carl Fairbank, a big, strong fella. Really, Watson had no chance of stopping him.
Great Britain on their own 20-metre mark. Edwards, now it's Farrell.
But you can see Great Britain side running in 2s and 3s, prepared to throw the ball around in their own quarter if necessary.
That's a replacement on the field for Gary Schofield, the captain. Darryl Powell from the Sheffield club. The try scorer, Carl Fairbank.
That's a pretty big blow for the Great Britain side, having Schofield off the field, because even though his club form hasn't been up to scratch, he's a crafty player, and that craftiness is going to be missed.
David Watson, Boddicker, can't get away from you, love. You know. Well, this is the incident that caused some problems for Gary Schofield.
He got monstered.
Denwar Johnston. Kearney. Final tackle on the way. Whittaker. Got away from Edwards. Gets the kick in and into touch as well.
Yeah, nothing flash about that kick, but it would have done young Aaron's confidence a world of good. Was prepared to take a little bit of a jink and try and get himself in a better position to kick the ball. Showed plenty of confidence there.
Gary Schofield in a bit of pain. Sideline. Edwards. Powell. Not a bad replacement to bring on. His 24th test today, Darryl Powell. Clark.
An accomplished play, he can play anywhere in the backs, and also second row lock, so pretty handy player to be able to bring on, as you said.
The kick from Edwards. Jason Williams. Inside his own 20. Great counter-attack of Jason Williams, but he couldn't get away from Devereaux and Farrell. Ropati. 6-0 to the Lions over the Kiwis. Johnston. Good run from Denward Johnston. Up over halfway. Kemp. The kick over the top. Intercepted by Farrell. Good tackle around the legs from Whittaker. Edwards. Devereaux. Davis, taken by Ito. Paul Newland, he's got O'Fire inside. He has a go on his own. They may have butchered a try there, but they're on attack. Edwards, long ball. Howell, back inside the Fairbank. He pops one through to nobody. The Kiwis survive.
He's awarded a penalty try. He's awarded a penalty try. That's a big controversy and a big blow. Referee Greg McCullum has awarded a penalty try.
To number 13, Phil Clark.
Kiwis were under a lot of pressure in that defence there, because once again, Great Britain changed the angle with the ball carrier, and their runners were changing the angle. At New Zealand at 6s and 7s, a player was taken out without the ball. Referee Greg McCullum right on the spot. He had no hesitation. Tony Kemp. Was that Tony Kemp?
Tony Kemp tackling Clark, the loose forward.
Without the ball.
The penalty try has been awarded to Phil Clark, who was taken out by Tony Kemp.
Well, here we see it here. Big long pass in from Sean Edwards. Once again, their changes of angles coming, running across the face of the ruck. Fairbank it was, popping the ball up. Tony Kemp tackling Phil Clark without the ball.
Still a little touch and go. The 4 points is there. And there's another 2 from Jonathan Davis. A disastrous start for the Kiwis.
As you say, a pretty tough call on New Zealand that, because it was touch and go. But referee Greg McCullum had no hesitation whatsoever. He yelled at the players straight away, obstruction, penalty try. Here we have it here. Oh, well, I don't think that Greg McCullum was in the wrong. He made the correct ruling there without any doubt. Phil Clark was taken out without the ball.
12-0, the Lions over the Kiwis. Farrell. "20 metres out from the Great Britain line. Jackson.
It is still a sad way to see a try get scored, isn't it? Penalty try, but you don't see them too often.
Now it's a penalty to New Zealand, almost in front and certainly very kickable for Frano Botica. So what do they do here? Down by 12-0.
Well, there's 2 points on offer. They've got to take the 2 points.
Frano Botica from right in front.
Well, after he played the ball, tried to push Steve Kearney out of the way. That was the problem. Jackson penalised for obstruction himself.
Reminder that after the match we will be announcing our UBIC's most valuable player of the match. $2,000 to that particular Kiwi player. And then we will add up the cumulative points for the series. And there's $10,000 for our MVP.
Accumulative. Does that mean the most?
Indeed. You're learning. Righto, Boddicker. No mistake from the Wigan ace. The Kiwis are on the board at long last. Great Britain 12, New Zealand 2. 20 minutes gone. He loves him from there, doesn't he? Lee Jackson, the man penalised.
Well, Coach Howie Tarman would be very disappointed having conceded that penalty try, because those sort of things certainly aren't in any planning, and when they do happen, they break your heart.
Stewart ran into Farrell. Boddicker. Solomona. Pop one back to Johnston.
That's what they've got to do more of. Just pass, draw and pass.
Bong here out to Curdy. Up over halfway, the captain. Mackie into Solomona. Johnston. Final tackle on the way. Penalty to New Zealand. Holding down on the tackle.
I think New Zealand would be well served to try and play the ball as quickly as they can, because I'm sure Greg McCullum has got that penalty try on his mind, and I think it's just human nature. He will feed New Zealand with a few penalties if there's any doubt.
Righto, Boddicker to try and add another 2 points to the New Zealand tally. 1 metre in from the touchline. This is possibly right on the end of Boddicker's range.
Had a bad dose of tonsillitis in the second test for Anna Boddicker. Wasn't feeling a well man at all. Talking to him last night in the lobby of the hotel. Says he feels a lot better. Wants to try and really make up for last week, even though it was a team effort. Frano wants to come out and make his mark.
I said it was right at the end of his range. A gush of wind would have blown it over, but it's still 12-2 to Great Britain. Clark. Edwards. Joint. Edwards. Boddicker, 20 metres out from his own line. Chance, Martineau, fire! The flyer, Watson to beat. The crowd wanted him to go on with it. But it's still Great Britain in a very good position. Joint, inside to Clark, Jonathan Davis. Great tackle by Roe Party. Devereaux. Connolly. Nobody. Eventually Fairbank cleans up. Now it's Lee Jackson. Pressure on the Kiwi defence again. Edwards. Joint. Phil Clark. Joint with the double round. Puts it on the toe. Tackled without the ball, so it's a penalty to Great Britain. Lion red replay.
Yeah, a good little run around it. A chip kicking behind the line from Joint. Once again has proved a problem for the Kiwi outside backs. Then one of the British players tackled without the ball, just putting more pressure back on our Kiwis.
Jason Williams. They like their chances down the blind side.
Changing the angles, Clarkie, that's the key. Running across the ruck, just drawing runners in.
Now it's Clark. New Love. Just lost his footing as he tried to step inside Iro. Davis in dummy half. Clark. Phil Clark getting close. Held up. No try.
Good scrambling defence, just fended Kevin Iro off. Aaron Whittaker, what a great job he did then. Showing plenty of strength. He's only a midget himself. Shaped like a racing tadpole, but he showed plenty of strength there.
12-2. Another set of 6 for the Lions. Connolly. Couple of metres out. Can the Kiwi defence hold on for the third set of 6? Edwards allowed all the time in the world to switch the play.
Once again, Aaron Whittaker getting into those big guys.
Skerritt. Taken by the second rows, Kearney and Fongia. The double round with Edwards. Came off a New Zealander on the toe. Try. No, it's been called back. Little knock on.
There's only a tiny knock on this. Referees ruled that it's come off the fingers of one of the British players. Good fortune for New Zealand.
So close. Whittaker. Mackie. 12-2, 27 minutes gone, and the third test. One World of Sport live at Headingley and Leeds. Solomona. Stewart. Kemp on the final tackle. No pressure on Davis. Slippery surface today with the drizzle.
Good work once again, Aaron Whittaker. Really had the sprint to get up on that chasing line then, Aaron. He did a great job picking off Davies because he's a dangerous runner.
Well, that says it all. 83% to 17.
Well, that's because New Zealand are finding it difficult running one out. It's very hard to gain any field position running one out.
Well, here's a chance for the Kiwis. They're 20 metres out now. Kemp diving on the loose ball. Stewart. Johnson into Solomona, who's left it behind. Knock on. The first real opportunity for New Zealand.
Well, it was tough for New Zealand because the Great Britain defence all up inside the 10 metres. But still, that was an unforced error.
New Love. Andy Farrell making the most of his debut. Skerritt. Devereaux. Jackson. Final tackle on the way. Edwards. Brano body cut. Watson. Up over the New Zealand 20-metre mark. Stewart.
Come on then, roll away, let him play. Okay, that'll do. Play your ball, come on. Get on with it.
Watson. Martin on fire. Bit of room to move. Can't get away from Monica, but gets the pass back to Davis. Penalty to New Zealand as Shepherd. This is certainly within Brano Bonica's kicking range. Right in front, 25 metres out.
A silly play here from Jonathan Davies. Obstruction. But Steve Kearney did a good job in milking it as well. Good on you, Steve. That's the way to do it.
A grey old Yorkshire day as the drizzle continues to fall. Body cut. He doesn't miss them from there. The New Zealanders edge a little closer. Great Britain 12, New Zealand 4, 32 minutes gone.
I think New Zealand would be well served when they receive this ball from the kick-off. Once they've settled it down once, just use it through 2 or 3 hands, because the British outside backs are starting to get a little ragged in their defence out wide because they're not being tested, so they're getting lazy. Now's our chance to spring on them.
Well, Aaron Whittaker, you've got a feel for him. Maybe Jonathan Davis doesn't.
No, but you do have to feel for Aaron Whittaker, because there's been plenty of good players have made that mistake there that Aaron's made. He feels terrible at the moment, but just got to put it behind him, get in there and work hard. Good bit of encouragement shown then from referee Greg McCullum, also giving Whittaker the little pat on the back.
Skirmish in back play as well. Touch judges on the field, Skerritt and Solomona. Stewart there with Fairbank. Things erupting after the scrum. Solomona having plenty to say about it. Alcea Solomona is being called out, along with Skerritt. The referee ruling that nobody had thrown a punch. but he wasn't too happy about the skirmish afterwards, so we're going back to the first tackle. No penalty.
And that's good refereeing by Greg McCullum.
Well, the two are involved again, Solomona and Skerritt. Well, after being warned to settle it down, Skerritt went in with a forearm on Solomona, and the penalty goes to New Zealand.
Well, the two number 8s trying to sort one another out. Skerritt lifting his forearm into Solomona. Solomona equal to the task, though, gave him a good serve and got a penalty as well.
It was Guy Fawkes night in England last night. The fireworks continue today at Headingley and Leeds.
New Zealand have to keep their heads. Getting close to half-time now. Just got to keep their heads. No mistakes. Try and work for good field position and see if we can get away with a couple more points before half-time.
Well, they weren't listening. That is the halfway line. Jackson taken by the front row. Solomona. Now Jackson loses it.
Well, it's been a tough couple of minutes for the guys wearing number 9.
(12-4). 35 minutes gone in the third and deciding test.
New Zealand have got to come up with something that Great Britain don't expect. Everything they do at the moment is being anticipated by the British defence. So New Zealand have to come up with something out of the ordinary.
Referee asking both sides to compose themselves. Kemp down the blind, away from Edwards. It slips 45 metres out from his own line. Hero, long ball, Rod Party.
A dangerous player with the ball, but just not getting it enough.
Well, Rod Party appealed for a penalty, but the referee has ruled that it's going to be a scrum. Plenty of mistakes in the last few minutes.
Clarkie, I think Greg McCullum's going to be happy when the half-time hooter goes. He wants to get in there to have a cup of tea, let everyone just settle down. Really, New Zealand unlucky not to get a penalty from that.
Powell taken by Kemp and also Watson up. No full-back home for New Zealand. The kick and chase is on again. Boddicker.
Great work from Frano Boddicker. Under pressure, but got back into the field of play.
Well, every time David Watson comes up into the defensive line, the very next tackle, Great Britain put the long ball in, the kick and chase. Now, it's Connolly. Edwards, joint. Connolly. A try just before half-time would be disaster for New Zealand. Can they hold on? Down 12-4 at the moment. Farrell, 12 metres out. Edwards, back inside to Devereaux. Powell hops one over to Fairbank. Sean Edwards. Skerritt. The whistle is gone.
Forward pass.
This is just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are unable.
Skerritt thought he had got away with it.
Well, nothing the front row hates more than getting the ball this close to the line, knowing they're on the way to a try. Very hard for these big guys to run the whole length of the field, but 3 or 4 metres out, they love it. But when they get called back, well, unfortunately, another knock on then. Aaron, I think, coming a little close to the scrum. He's tried it a couple of times, tried to just work down the same side he's put the ball in, and the Great Britain second rowers are catching him each time he does it.
Devereaux receiving the old magic spray. Great Britain. Connolly. Edwards, Clark, Farrell. Hiro has him along with Boddicker. Meters out. Edwards, Fairbank.
Come on, Kiwis, hold on, hold on.
Edwards, joint. Look for the support player coming through. He wasn't there. Couple of tackles remaining. Back inside to Scarrett. Final tackle on the way. Desperate defence by New Zealand. Edwards, Connolly, the little kick and chase, but Whittaker was there to clean up.
Oh, good work from Aaron Whittaker. He read that, he anticipated what was going to happen, popped himself in behind the line and saved what could have been a try.
Hongia. Brent Stewart. Hiro. Kevin Hiro has been looking for the ball a lot today. Good to see him really getting involved. Solomona. Kemp. Kicking for Watson. Hongia slips. We had players on both sides. The referee is going to penalise him though because he said he was effectively held. Let's look at it again on the line red replay. Well, I doubt whether he was effectively held. Maybe it was a forward pass.
No, he was passing to a player in an offside position.
Scarrett takes a tackle as the half-time hooter sounds. 12.
If you do put him on, who do you bring him off? If you put him on in the centres or on the wing, he's only going to get the ball. If they keep playing the way they're going, he'll only get the ball if he goes into...
Alias Clark Kent.
So you look once again. The line red replays and Sean Edwards allowed to run. And that was the opening try of the match, bringing Carl Fairbank onto the ball. Watson couldn't stop him. Again, another look at the scoring action. This was the penalty try. Tony Kemp tackling Phil Clark without the ball. One world of sport, live at Leeds, and the second half of the third and final test match is underway. Kearney. Reminder, at the end of the match, we'll have the Ubix Most Valuable Player of the Day, $2,000 to him. And then we'll name the Ubix Most Valuable Player of the series. $10,000 up for grabs there. Alan Tate is on for Great Britain, the former Scottish Rugby Union international. That's good offloading. What a start to the second half. Denward Johnston. But after all that, Great Britain have come up with it. Just tried to force the final pass. Taking the tackle may have been the better option.
But we had a good example of what can happen if you back up and offload the ball. You make breaks.
Martin afire. Scarrett. Phil Clark. Final tackle on the way. Edwards. Boddicker. Straight out to Watson. Whittaker. He's lost it. Edwards. Fairbank.
What Sean Edwards is trying to do, taking that first pass off the ruck, running a little wide, turning her forward inside and keeping the defence compressed. And what that does is free up the outside backs. It's working very well for them.
Edwards, Clark, Farrell. Final tackle again. Alan Tate off the side of his boot. Jason Williams. He's had limited opportunities today along with the other winger, Bodica. In fact, we haven't seen the New Zealand back line swing into action. Penalty to New Zealand. The Great Britain player didn't play the ball area.
Gary Connolly laying in the ruck. A silly penalty to give away this. Dave Watson knocking the ball on, but the referee giving New Zealand the advantage of having a Pommy player laying across the ruck.
Brent Stewart. Whittaker. Solomona. Mackie. Pongia. Whittaker. Kemp the double round with Watson inside to Solomona. Back to nobody, but it's been towed through by Kemp. The ball went forward. Well, the Kiwis in the second half have shown a tendency to try and throw the ball around a little more.
Well, they're trying to be a bit adventurous, just a few variations. It was a bit of a silly pass there from Solomona, but they are showing a few variations, and what it's allowing is for a few breaks, just to break up the British defence.
Alan Tate up from fullback. New Love. Clark. Oh, wrapped up by Hero.
Well, that's good marker defence then from Kevin Iro, chasing out of that first marker, putting pressure on the British runners.
Chance for New Zealand now. Kearney. "30 metres out from the line. Brent Stewart, 20 metres out. The Kiwis desperate for early points in the second half. They're down 12-4. Mackie, Williams. Kemp. Pongia. The kick and chase from Kearney. A little bit of variation, but Devereaux got there first.
It was a good passage of play from New Zealand, putting the variation on, changing the angle, at least trying something that the opposition aren't going to expect.
Davis. A couple of Kiwi reserves warming up in back play.
This has been the best marker defence so far from the British side, from the New Zealand side.
Great Britain also warming up Sonny Nicol. Davis. Watson. Good chasing from Connolly and Edwards. Johnny Lomax ready to come on when required. Good ball and all tackle from Andy Farrell. He'll be happy with his debut.
He's had a great game, young Andy.
Mark him down for the future. Great Britain's youngest ever forward. 8 points in it.
This is better play from New Zealand, using the ball a little more.
Kemp. Back to Alan Tate. The Leeds fullback in front of his home crowd today, on his home ground. Clark, straight across field, Phil Clark. Martin fire, tripped over one of his own players' legs there, just when the gap looked to be there for him.
But we see the willingness of the British side to counter-attack. No matter where they are in the field, they do use the ball.
Greg McCallum spotted one of those loose arms connecting with the head of Carl Fairbank. Zero there. Johnny Lomax on for David Watson. Now we're going to have a rearranged back line. I don't think Johnny Lomax is going to be playing fullback.
Blackmore's gone out onto the left wing and Jason Williams gone to fullback.
And here's a replacement on for Great Britain, Sonny Nicol. Richie Blackmore on for Ser Solomona. But Great Britain working into good field position again. Nicol for Fairbank. Skerritt right into Johnny Lomax. And if one man can get this forward pack going, it's Lomax. Touch judge is on. He saw something in the tackle. Expect a penalty for Great Britain.
I think they'll probably call Johnny Lomax out. Now that's a picture of innocence.
Let's have a look at it again on the line read replay, number 15.
Johnny Lomax just knocking the hand away, that's all. But it did look like there was a punch, but from the sideline, especially if you're wearing British glasses.
Well, the Kiwis hard done by there. It should be a gift, 2 points. Graham Lowe, you don't have any fond memories of Great Britain touch judges. Rob, your 1985 Kiwis of a series win in the third test.
Yeah, one of them managed to get himself on TV 3 times. Our boys were sweet and innocent. They wouldn't do anything wrong for the touch judge to come on, but unfortunately they did. And Lee Crooks booted 3 goals. We drew at 6-all.
Jonathan Davis from right in front. No mistake there. 3 from 3 for Davis. The crowds love it. And the scoreboard, 14-4. The Lions over the Kiwis. 10 minutes gone in the second half.
Prior to that penalty, that was a pretty good passage of play for New Zealand because they have decided now to use the ball a little more. Even though it wasn't getting too wide, they were backing up around the middle of the field with their forwards.
Alan Tate to play it inside his own 10-metre area.
Gary Schofield there. He's already been in for the bath.
Farrell. Andy Farrell, the youngster. Up over halfway. He's got players on either side, but they put it down. But play on, knock back. No, the touch judge signalled to the referee that it was a knock on. Well, a great burst by Andy Farrell. Players on either side of him, but the pass went to ground.
It's going to be a big bloke when he grows up.
Fourth time he's played against the Kiwis as we look at him in action again. He made the initial burst.
Well,
the fire screaming for it.
Big wide running second rows. They're very, very dangerous and highly effective.
Kemp straight ahead. Mackie. Whittaker. Kemp. Williams now playing at fullback. Back inside to Kearney. Johnston. Hongia. Ball and all tackle from Gary Connolly. You cannot fault the defensive role of Connolly and you love the centres from Great Britain. Mel really on the left of screen, the successful Great Britain coach.
They're probably talking to one another, Clarkie, saying, I bet we do, I bet we don't.
Davis, shape to kick, Jonathan Davis. Almost fooled the defence.
Good defence though from Tony Kemp.
Clark. Edwards. Chris Joint. Only 21 years of age, Chris Joint. Now it's a penalty to Great Britain.
Just a little bit of indiscipline. Just creeping into the New Zealand game now. We've got to be careful of that.
Still plenty of time left for the Kiwis. 10 points to difference, 14-4.
I think when New Zealand next get the ball, they should try and isolate Shaun Edwards. Run at Shaun Edwards. He's starting to look a little bit iffy in defence. Playing great with the ball, but his defensive role is a little different.
Nickel, 20 metres out from the Kiwi line. Clark, Edwards, rehearsed move, bringing Joint into it. Hongia read it pretty well. Edwards, Connolly taken by rope body. Clark.
Good marker defence from New Zealand once more. Working very hard out of that first marker.
Field goal attempt from Jonathan Davis. He adds an extra 1 point. Good thinking by the classy fullback come standoff today. A 100% record with 3 goals and now 1 field goal, 15-4.
Well, it was a blow for New Zealand, this field goal, but really Jonathan Davies knew that at that stage the New Zealand marker defence in particular was working very, very efficiently. They weren't going to be able to score a try, so the Welsh wizard just decided to have a field goal.
His rugby union skills evident on that occasion. Devereaux, fellow Welshman.
Meeting a Wellingtonian.
Nickel. Andy Farrell out of another couple of tackles.
Fucking hell!
Eventually into touch.
Andy a bit disappointed. He slipped out over the sideline there. He's a handful. He seems to have an art of just being able to glide through the defenders.
The referee at the moment, Greg McCallum, just talking to both captains, saying his concern that tackles are starting to creep up a bit. Settle it down.
I think that's good refereeing because he's just warning both sides. There's a lot on the line in this test match. Players are very, very desperate.
Aaron Whittaker. New Zealand having to do most of the tackling in this test match. They've made more mistakes. Chance now inside the Great Britain 20-metre area. Johnny Lomax. Tony Kemp. Mackie throws a dummy. It's come off a Great Britain player. Blackboard, so they have another set of 6. Now it's a penalty to New Zealand. Well, the Great Britain player was lying all over the ball area, Phil Clark. Kearney doesn't go for the 2. He wants to keep the pressure on. They need a converted try to get back into this test match. 15-4, the Lions over the Kiwis. Whittaker, a little dart on his own. He's only a couple of metres out. Johnston. Pongia. Penalty again to the Kiwis. Great Britain offside. They have another set of 6. Williams, Whittaker, taken by his opposite number, Edwards, and also Farrell.
Well, Edwards this close to the line is the guy they've got to try and run at because he will miss.
Jason Williams brings Richie Blackmore inside. Good defence, though, from Clark. Whittaker. Johnny Lomax charges into them. Kemp holds it up for Kearney. Johnston back to Kemp. The Great Britain defence holding. Final tackle on the way. Johnson with the kick. Not a bad one. Another set of 6 for New Zealand. How many more tackles do they want before they can score? Rope party.
And more importantly, how long can the Great Britain defence hang on? They are working overtime at the moment.
Kearney, the big Fen. Whittaker, Lomax. Kemp, dangerous pass. Now it's been intercepted. The chase is on. They're coming at Jonathan Davis from every angle, but he's going to have too much speed. That just could be the ball game here. That just could seal a whitewash. Great Britain's first ever 3-0 whitewash since 1970 over the Kiwis. Against the run of play for Jonathan Davis. When the Kiwis were applying the pressure on the Lion Red replay, they forced the pass. Kemp had no idea that Davis was on hand, and he simply had too much pace.
Well, Jonathan Davies, and given this opportunity, he's not going to miss out on this try. He's got tons of pace, but a bad blue from New Zealand. Tony Kemp trying to flick the ball out with his back to the defence. That is just inviting for danger, and that's what happened.
Another look at it from the high angle, and it was all over at this stage. Blackmore trying hard. Boddicker making up a bit of ground.
All they've managed to do is keep Jonathan Davies out away from the post. So some compensation out of it. But full credit to Great Britain, because they did absorb a heck of a lot of pressure. They were inside their own 20-metre area, tackling their hearts out. A New Zealand mistake in attack just provided them with 4 points, and possibly, if Jonathan's got the wind left, 6 points.
Davis. It's waved away. "31-year-old, the fullback who's been playing standoff in the second half after the captain, Gary Schofield, was replaced.
Interesting, Clarkie. I was talking to Jonathan Davies the other day about Inga Tuigamala playing rugby league. And Jonathan said to me, for heaven's sake, if you can, keep him in rugby union. We don't want him running at us.
19 points to 4. The restart. Farrell. He's loving every minute of his debut test match. Connolly taken by Iro. New Zealand have had the better of the possession, 53 to 47. Skerritt to play it. Edwards charged down by Whittaker and into touch on the full.
Pretty smart player, Sean Edwards. He knows it's no good just rucking the ball out one at a time. Get it kicked, take the pressure off your forwards, and just back yourself up with defence. Fortunately for Great Britain, charge down, out on the full, and they've received the ball again.
Lee Jackson. He's left it behind, and that should be a scrum. Yes, a knock-on and a chance for New Zealand. The time running out for them now. The Lion Red replay. Tony Kemp. Well, he's thrown it away again. Tried the little flip behind, and he's given the ball away on the first tackle. There's the gap opening up for Davis. Ropati closed it just in time. Clark. Joint. Oh, big defence from Johnston. Right on the halfway line. Edwards. Skerritt. Tate up from fullback. Can't get away from Blackmore. Thrown into the Leeds turf. Sonny Nicol having to do the kicking. Boddicker. Hero.
Kevin Hero once again just hasn't received the ball in general backline play. He always has to go looking for it down the middle of the field.
Stewart. Mackey. Whittaker. Now it's Kearney, the captain. The kick and chase. He gets the good bounce, but he's thrown it into Devereaux. The support was on the inside. He threw a speculator, but Devereaux got there first.
Well, I know it went wrong, but it's, again, it was something they didn't expect. Just a little chip and chase. Was nearly rewarded with a try. Just bad execution in the end. Cost possession, but The point I'm trying to make is every time they try something out of the ordinary, it brings a result that could have given them a try.
Clark, here we go again. Chris Joint, he's got a ton of speed for a second rower into Edwards. There's a fire. Martin a fire. Try. Nobody loves scoring tries more than Chariots of Fire. The counter-attack worked again. 23 points to 4. "25 test tries for Martin of Fire."
Great understanding between Martin of Fire and Sean Edwards. This was good counter-attack, using the ball straight away. Joint was the man, running out wide. A big second row has done the damage again, running wide, showing good pace. Great skills from Sean Edwards to pick that up. But Martin of Fire sweating on the back of Sean Edwards. He knew that Giz would give him the ball. And of Fire's just gone away and scored another scorcher.
Chris Joint started it. They open them up down the blind side.
And that was good skills from Sean Edwards to pick that ball up. And great anticipation from Martin of Fire. He is a great winger. He's continually criticised by some people, but he's a great winger, and he'd go well in our team if he was a Kiwi.
The Lion Red replay once again.
Well, there you saw the great anticipation and great skills from Sean Edwards. Sean Edwards has probably been the best player in the whole series. He's controlled things very well for the Great Britain team. He's been the architect. He's playing in his favourite position, half-back. He was always held out by Andy Gregory. But now he's there, he's running the show, and he loves it.
And he has no Gary Freeman to contend with today, his old foe. Davis. Chalk up another 2 on the scoreboard.
But your heart's got to go out to our Kiwis. 25 points to 4. They look a shattered bunch at the moment. They've had a very, very tough week emotionally. There we have it, a wide running second row into the gap. Great play, good skills again from Edwards. A Fire showing great anticipation. Greg McCullum nearly coming up with a great tackle, just got out of the way.
Well, a couple of replacements on for the Kiwis as they try a short kick, and it pays off for them, except they knocked it on. Well, they're trying to do something different, trying to break it up a bit, just couldn't hold on to it. Frodo Botica. A couple of replacements on. Fedu Taiwa, number 16, is on, as well as number 17, David Lomax. A big day for the Lomax family. Both David and Johnny playing in a test match for the first time for New Zealand. David Lomax came away as the real bolter on this tour, and he's really come on in leaps and bounds. Taken by David Lomax. Michael Jackson is on for Paul Newlove. Phil Clark leading the side in the absence of Gary Schofield. Blackmore.
I think it's a bit of a shame that we haven't seen more of Blackmore in this test series, because he has been in fantastic form. Out there on the wing today, he's not getting the ball unless he gets kicked to him or he goes hunting down the middle of the field. But he is a good player, and I think we've sorely missed him.
Lomax to Lomax. But Nicol read that pretty well. Official attendance here today, 15,500. 36,000 at Wembley for the first test, a little over 16,000 at Wigan for the second, 15,500 today. Good burst. Alan Tate from fullback. Bill Clark, who's had a strong game again for Great Britain. They spin it wide. Michael Jackson out to Gary Connolly, inside to Andy Farrell. It's a treat to watch this stuff. Jackson, who started the movement, Michael Jackson, gets it back to Sonny Nicol for the line. Nicol, out it goes to Farrell. He scores a try in his Test debut, and if anyone deserves it, he deserves it for Great Britain.
The outstanding play from the British side, showing all the skills, the backing up, running into the gaps, supporting one another, carrying on and backing up after they've been involved. They keep alive. Connolly, what a fine player he is, getting the ball away. This kid here is an absolute champion, Andy Farrell. He's an absolute champion. He offloads to a player in a better position. Should have been stopped there, that should have been tackled, but Sonny Nicol's able to back up, just draw in. Really, Johnson had no chance whatsoever, but drawing the New Zealand defence was outstanding, an outstanding try, great to watch.
Michael Jackson from Halifax, the replacement, allowed to pop it out to the other replacement, Sonny Nicol. Had plenty of time to draw the two players in. Farrell, another 4-pointer.
Well, he told me the other day that he had a bad shoulder and hip and he wouldn't be able to play for 2 weeks. So when he comes right, I'd hate to see what he's like.
From 5 for Jonathan Davis. From the touchline, it's waved away. No goal. But after winning the first test by 17 points and the second test by 17 points, Great Britain 29-4 today.
But there, look, just running into space, running at gaps. That's what we haven't done for 3 test matches. We've been drawn like magnets into the defence.
18-year-old, the youngest ever Great Britain forward. His teammate today, Paul Newlove, was the youngest ever to play for Great Britain, 18 years and 72 days. That was back in 1989.
Almost.
Nicol. Davis. He wants to play it in the New Zealand half, and why not? Jason Williams gets back. It's going to be difficult naming the most valuable player at a side beaten by 29-4, but we will have our Ubix most valuable player of the day later on, as well as the Ubix player of the series. Also like to thank our tour sponsors, Lion Red, Air New Zealand, Ford and Bell South. And as we count down to full time here with just a few minutes remaining, we do hope that you've enjoyed coverage of the 1993 Tour of Great Britain by the Kiwis. Tony Kemp from Castleford, now playing in Great Britain. The scrums have gone with the feed. Gary Connolly allowed to step out of tackles. Farrell. Graham Lowe, 3 of the tries today by Great Britain have been scored by forwards, but up until today, all 8 tries scored by the Great Britain backs, and really that's been the key to their success in this series. They've been charging their arm and prepared to throw it out along the back line.
But it has been constructive play. They've been willing to counter-attack for 3 games. That's the key. we've had no counter-attack whatsoever, or a reluctance to do it. Great Britain have always played a 13-man game. We may as well not have seen our centres or our wingers out there because they just haven't had the ball in proper play for 3 test matches.
Edwards with the kick. Williams can't get away from Phil Clark.
Disappointing thing about this test series to me, Clarkie, is we don't appear to have learned anything from the previous 2 games. We've fallen for the same traps, made the same mistakes.
Denward Johnson, after doing the good yardage, loses the ball on the halfway line. That's been the story of the test match again for New Zealand. Conley. This Great Britain side oozes with class and confidence. The New Zealanders move on to France after this test match to play 4 matches, including a one-off test match on November 22 New Zealand time.
And Andy Farrell again making a strong run. He's a good player.
Well, the touch judge is on. There's a Kiwi down in back play.
I think he just got hurt going into the tackle on Andy Farrell.
That's Johnny Lomax, and he looks to be out cold, which is unfortunate. Sonny Nicol. Will probably be called out. Something happened off the ball.
Sonny Nicol might have given young David a bit of a clout on the way through off the ball.
Let's have a look at it again. In back play, Sonny Nicol. There's the elbow on Johnny Lomax.
Oh, Johnny it was, yeah.
He's been sent from the field.
And rightly so.
Now they're calling for a stretcher for Johnny Lomax, so this is a shame. It's been a competitive series. Johnny Lomax doesn't want to leave. Watch it again.
Well, what it was, Johnny Lomax just trying to hold Sonny Nicol out of the play, and Sonny Nicol giving him an elbow.
Penalty to New Zealand. Possibly the nastiest incident in this test series. Competitive series. And played in reasonable spirits as well until something like that comes along. One world of sport at Headingley and Leeds, the dying minutes of this 3rd test series. This 3rd test in a series already wrapped up by Great Britain. A 3-0 whitewash for them, their first since 1970, their first on British soil since 1951 against the Kiwis. 29-4, Lomax. Kearney, or Stephen Kearney with the added responsibility of the captaincy, has done well today, and so is this man finishing the game brilliantly. Jason Williams. It's come far too late, but that just shows what the Kiwis have been lacking. A try coming from absolutely nothing.
Coming from counter-attack.
29 points to 8. A little more respectability in the scoreline, and it came in injury time.
Well, a great broken field runner, Jason Williams. Got plenty of speed, great balance. He's a fine player. And he's posted a 4-pointer just from New Zealand's counter-attack, which has been totally missing. But this is a well-taken individual try. Must be frustrating playing up full-back or wing in this team at the moment because you just don't get the ball.
Jason Williams, today it's his 6th test after making his debut in 1991, and that is his first test try for New Zealand. Congratulations, Jason. Botica. There's another 2 for New Zealand, 29 points to 10. It is all over in the 1993 series. Jonathan Devereux needing some assistance. Some Kiwi fans in the crowd, but really they have to applaud a Great Britain victory. Andy Farrell, what a test debut for the 18-year-old from Wigan. Martin of Fire, another try. Michael Jackson helped set one up. Gary Conley, effective again in the centres. John Devereux, the star of the second test, without a try, being helped off the field. Sean Edwards, possibly the man of the series for Great Britain. So it's celebrations all round for Great Britain. Stephen Kearney. I think we're going to see a lot more of Stephen Kearney in the Kiwi jersey, and possibly a skipper as well.
He's a fine player, Steve Kearney. And he showed today with a couple of little chip kicks that he did, just little grubbers, while they didn't come off. He's prepared to try that sort of thing. He could read what was happening. That was the key to the whole business. He knew that Bash and Barge wasn't getting them through, so he was prepared to come up with something different. Great sportsmanship shown from both sides there. As you said before, the series has been played in great spirit. Unfortunate incident with that elbow, but modern day rugby league players know that there's no part in the game for silly off the ball stuff because they get dealt with so severely at the judiciary. It's their livelihood they're chucking away. And these blokes have played this in great spirit. Full credit to Great Britain and to Coach Malcolm, really. Been an outstanding series.
The New Zealanders can only head back to the dressing rooms now. Malcolm Rewley, he hasn't lost a test series against New Zealand, and this is his 4th series against the Kiwis. The Great Britain team will now be introduced to Maurice Lindsay and other dignitaries here. Gary Schofield, replaced in the first half for injury, but he takes out the John Smith's trophy. A 3-0 whitewash. Great Britain over the Kiwis. Who would have thought it possible back at Mount Smart in early June when it was 14-all between the Kiwis and the world champion Australians. Sean Edwards smiling, and why not? Lee Jackson, the hooker, in for Martin Dermott after he was injured at Wembley. Darryl Powell, Alan Tate, Gary Conley, Chris Joint, Jonathan Davis. What a match from the Welsh wizard. Powell, and Tate, and now Conley. All of them playing well. Michael Jackson when he came on. Devereux, not in great shape there, but he's had a great series. Kelvin Skerritt back in the Great Britain team today. Phil Clark making a late charge for some of the points today. Let's have a look at it again on One World of Sport. The only try to the New Zealanders, it came in injury time. Stephen Kearney, the skipper. Now, Williams still had a lot of work to do on the halfway line, but he spotted the opening. Very evasive run-up.
He ran at the referee. It's a good trick. Run straight at the referee. Make him get out of the way because no defender can stand there. A lot of experience shown by Jason in that instance.
The finishing touches to New Zealand's try that came far too late in this test match. But that try there from Jason Williams, even though it was a great individual effort, the initial lead-up work was carried out by the skipper for today. and that is Stephen Kearney, and we have given Stephen Kearney our 3 points as our Ubix MVP of the match, the captain today. Kevin Ero picks up 2, and Denwar Johnston, making his debut, picks up 1. So it's Kearney 3, Ero 2, and Johnston 1. And so to move on now to our MVP of the series, and it is Stephen Kearney, who finishes on 7 points, while Brent Stewart and Gary Freeman are equal on 4 points. So congratulations, Stephen Kearney, in future years. Some of the statistics: 18-9, the handling errors going against New Zealand. Possession, well, Great Britain had the better of it. Territorial advantage was pretty well even, really. Half-time 12-4, and full-time it was 29 points to 10.